Have you ever wondered how something as simple as touch can help redefine the experience of growing older? Not just touch from others, but from yourself? In today's video, we're peeling back the layers of a topic that's long been wrapped in silence, yet touches every part of who we are, especially as we age. This isn't just about pleasure, it's about rediscovery, healing, and control. We're talking about self-pleasure and how it can deeply influence emotional balance, physical health, and even the sense of identity in our later years. Stick around until the very end, because we'll be revealing not just the benefits, but a fresh way to think about connection, one that starts and ends with you. And hey, before we dive in, if you find this video resonates with you, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep spreading these powerful, necessary conversations. Let's begin. As we move through life, especially as we reach the later chapters, there's a quiet question that many people carry but rarely speak aloud. What does intimacy look like now? And more importantly, where does it come from? For many older adults, this question remains unanswered. It's wrapped in social discomfort, cultural silence, and often personal hesitation. But what if we told you that the answer might not lie in reaching outward, but inward? This is where self-pleasure becomes not just relevant, but revolutionary. Self-pleasure, often reduced to something trivial or taboo, carries weight. It's an act that sits at the intersection of biology, emotion, and identity. And when we approach it with the same respect we give to other aspects of self-care, we begin to understand its true role in aging. Not just as a source of pleasure, but as a quiet rebellion against the myth that aging equals decline. Because here's the truth: pleasure doesn't retire. The desire to feel alive, to connect, to be seen and felt, it doesn't dissolve with age. It may change shape, it may quiet down, but it doesn't disappear. And self-pleasure offers a private, powerful way to keep that connection alive, even, and especially, in the absence of a partner. When we're young, intimacy often gets tied up in performance, in being wanted, in impressing someone, in meeting expectations. But as we age, those expectations begin to fall away. And what's left behind is something purer, more grounded, a need to feel good in your own skin, to feel comfort, to feel release, to feel like your body is still yours. This shift in focus, from pleasing others to caring for yourself, is what makes self-pleasure in older age so profound. It's not a fallback. It's not a substitute. It's a declaration. I am still here. I still matter. My body is still a source of joy. And for many older adults, that message is life-changing. Let's talk about what happens physically. As we age, our bodies change. That's no secret. Hormones fluctuate. Sensitivity shifts. For some, desire may decrease. For others, it deepens. But across the board, one truth remains. The capacity for pleasure does not vanish. In fact, studies have shown that regular self-stimulation helps promote healthy blood flow in the genital area, which in turn helps maintain tissue integrity and function. This is especially important because as we get older, reduced circulation can lead to discomfort, dryness, and in some cases, even atrophy. Engaging in self-pleasure isn't just about the moment. It's about maintenance. It's about keeping your body responsive. It's about staying in tune with how things feel, so you can notice when something's off or changing. It's also about relaxation. Pleasure triggers the release of endorphins, natural mood lifters that can combat stress, depression, and anxiety. And for those navigating grief, chronic pain, or the isolation that sometimes comes with aging, that release can offer a moment of real peace. Add to that the impact on sleep. Masturbation can help promote better rest by relaxing the body and calming the nervous system. For older adults who struggle with insomnia or interrupted sleep, this can be a game changer, a simple act that creates space for rest and healing. And then there's the emotional layer. Self-pleasure isn't just a physical act. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's deeply personal. It reminds you that you're still worthy of affection, even if that affection is coming from your own hands. This matters, because for many people, aging comes with a sense of loss. Loss of youth, of relationships, of touch. And when that happens, it's easy to start believing that intimacy is something behind you, something reserved for younger bodies and younger hearts. But that's a lie. Intimacy doesn't fade. It evolves. And it's still very much within reach. Self-pleasure offers a path back to that, not by imitating what intimacy used to be, but by meeting yourself where you are now, with softness, with curiosity, with care. It's a private practice that allows you to feel connected, grounded, and whole, even in the absence of a partner. It says, I know myself. I care for myself. I'm still deserving of touch, of attention, of pleasure. And that realization is deeply powerful. It can even be liberating, because for the first time in perhaps decades, there are no rules, no expectations, no one else to please. Just you, just your needs, just your body, exactly as it is, worthy of love and joy and exploration. And yes, while society may still fumble to catch up to this idea, the truth is simple. Sexual expression doesn't end. It just grows quieter, deeper, more reflective. It becomes less about performance and more about presence. And in a world that's constantly telling older adults to shrink, to fade, to make space for the young, choosing to explore your own body, to give yourself pleasure, is nothing short of radical. So if you've ever felt shame, hesitation, or confusion about self-pleasure in your later years, you're not alone. But maybe it's time to reframe that narrative, to shift from silence to curiosity, from guilt to grace. Because you are not too old for pleasure. You are not past your prime. You have not missed the moment. In fact, the moment, this moment, may be the perfect time to begin again. As we expand this conversation, it's important to look even deeper at what self-pleasure represents beyond the physical or even emotional layers. Because for many older adults, this practice isn't just about feeling good. It's about reclaiming something sacred, something often forgotten, a sense of ownership over one's body, one's time, one's choices. Aging, for all its gifts, can sometimes feel like a series of quiet losses. The loss of strength, of independence, of roles you once held or identities you once wore. You might no longer be someone's boss, someone's caregiver, someone's partner. And in that shift, there can be a quiet erosion of control, a feeling that your body and your life are no longer entirely yours. But then, there's this small, simple act, done in private, without permission, without performance, just you, your body, and a moment of intention. And suddenly you remember, this is still your body, your space, your experience. That kind of reclaiming matters, more than most people realize. Because even though we rarely talk about it, self-pleasure can be one of the last places where older adults feel complete autonomy. You don't need to ask for it. You don't need to wait for it. You don't need to explain it. It's yours, unfiltered, uninterrupted, and entirely within your control. And that sense of control can have ripple effects throughout your entire life. It can boost confidence, not just in the bedroom, but in everyday decisions. It can remind you that you are capable of creating joy, of choosing how you engage with your world. It can strengthen your relationship with yourself in subtle but meaningful ways. Think about that. How many aspects of life after 60, after 70, still give you full control? This is one of them, and it's worth celebrating. But we also have to be honest. Because while there is so much beauty and value in self-pleasure, it's not always easy to embrace. Especially if you were raised in a time or culture where this topic was never openly discussed. Many people in their later years carry shame around their sexuality. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because no one ever gave them permission to feel otherwise. Maybe you were taught that touch was something only shared in marriage, or that desire fades with age, or worse, that wanting pleasure, especially alone, was somehow inappropriate. But those messages were never about truth. They were about control. They were about shaping behavior, not supporting well-being. And now, decades later, you get to decide if those beliefs still serve you, or if it's time to let them go. Because the truth is, you don't need anyone else's permission to experience your body as a source of comfort and pleasure. You never did. And here's another truth. Sexual well-being is part of health, just like eating well, just like staying active, just like maintaining social connections. It's not a luxury. It's not indulgent. It's a part of being whole. And let's not forget, there's science behind this. Neurological studies have shown that regular, intentional self-pleasure activates areas of the brain linked to reward, memory, and even pain reduction. For older adults dealing with chronic discomfort, arthritis, or muscle stiffness, that release can be both physical and mental. It's a form of self-soothing, a way of telling your body, I hear you, I care for you, I'm still connected to you. It also encourages mindfulness, that ability to be fully present in a moment, to slow down, to feel without judgment. And in a world that often races forward, that pause is healing in itself. Self-pleasure can also help with body image, something that continues to matter no matter your age. Because aging changes your body in ways that aren't always easy to accept. Wrinkles, weight shifts, sagging skin. And for many people, those changes can bring a kind of distance. You stop looking in the mirror, stop touching yourself, stop really seeing yourself. But when you return to touch, to kind, curious, non-judgmental touch, something shifts. You begin to see your body not just as aging, but as alive. Not just as not what it used to be, but as still yours, still worthy of care and exploration. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't always feel comfortable at first. But that process of reintroduction, of meeting your body again with compassion, is one of the quietest, most powerful revolutions there is. Still, there are moments when even this kind of intimacy can become complicated. Some older adults fall into patterns of overuse, turning to self-pleasure not just for joy, but as a way to escape loneliness or emotional pain. And while it's absolutely okay to seek comfort in your body, it's also important to notice why you're turning to it. Is it about curiosity, relief, joy, or is it about numbing something? The line can be subtle, but it matters. Because when self-pleasure becomes the only source of emotional relief, it may signal something deeper that needs your attention. Loneliness, depression, disconnection from friends or family. In those cases, self-pleasure isn't the problem, but it can become a coping mechanism that masks the need for more meaningful connection. That's why emotional balance is key. Just like we wouldn't recommend eating every time we feel sad or sleeping to avoid our problems, we shouldn't rely solely on self-pleasure to soothe every emotional wound. It's a tool, a beautiful, valuable one, but it's not the only one. Maintaining friendships, having conversations, joining communities, these are all crucial parts of a full, emotionally healthy life. and they work with self-pleasure, not in place of it. It's also important to talk about what happens in partnerships. For older adults in relationships, self-pleasure can sometimes feel like a betrayal, but it's not. In fact, many healthy relationships encourage it, not just as a private act, but as a way to maintain personal agency and understand what feels good. In partnered intimacy, communication is everything. And when you know your body, when you're in tune with what feels good and what doesn't, you bring that awareness into the relationship. You become more confident, more open, and more able to express your needs. That's not distance, that's depth. But like any part of a relationship, balance matters. If self-pleasure begins to replace intimacy altogether, that's worth exploring. Not because self-pleasure is wrong, but because partnership thrives on shared vulnerability. And if that connection is slipping, it deserves attention. That's what it comes down to. Awareness. Awareness of your body, your emotions, your patterns, your needs. Self-pleasure is not a replacement for love, or connection, or healing. But it can be a doorway to all three, when practiced with intention. So if you've been feeling disconnected, discouraged, or disinterested, consider this your gentle nudge, not to fix anything, but to notice, to explore, to approach your body not with criticism, but with curiosity. This is your body. It's lived through decades of life, of work, of care, of change. And it still has the capacity to feel joy. It still holds the potential for discovery, for laughter, for peace. You are not past that. You never will be. If this resonated with you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more conversations like this. Ones that go beyond surface level and reach into the truth of who we are at every age. We'll see you in the next one.